Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are looking at Ascended by Bee's Knees Lacquer. This is a blackened garnet with a red microflake. As you might have already guessed, this is the other garnet polish that I bought. As you'll probably be able to tell from the first coat, this one is pretty opaque. And also, can you tell I'm desperately trying not to flood my cuticles? This was pretty easy to get out of my sidewalls, but I didn't want it on that inside corner of my nail. It's so much harder to get the brush in there. Now, this is one of the reasons I was laughing about the Hollow Taco Birthstone release. I really did not like the multi-chrome that they released for January. That's purely a personal taste issue. I felt I had something similar in Love is Sharper Than Any Steak by BKL. And I generally don't jump to grab multi-chromes in the first place, so it was just not appealing to me. But I did kind of like the flake polish they released as an apology in December for all of us salty January trash pandas, of which I guess I was one. I think we have Nicole Loves Nails to thank for that, and good job, Nicole. Well done. And I mean that sincerely, that's not a joke. But I had literally just purchased the Glam for Black Friday, and I was feeling kind of reticent to jump into the Hollow Taco release because I really didn't want to feel rushed. And Hollow Taco sometimes has this problem of not being able to keep things in stock. And that particular release was very popular, so I didn't want to be doing that thing where I was constantly hunting through their website to see if it had come back or not. Then I saw this polish in January and I was like, well, that one's just calling to me, isn't it? I already knew I was ordering, so it was pretty easy to just pick this one up as well. I'm hoping I'm remembering all that chain of events correctly, but I did not go back to check the actual Hollow Taco release dates. I actually did have the second Hollow Taco polish in my wish list for a bit, but it was limited edition, and at that point I really didn't feel like I could justify buying a third garnet polish. And I do think of the two that I did buy, this one is a pretty good match for the actual birthstone. I only needed 2 coats for this polish. I get no hint of a nail line. Even though it is opaque, it still has some nice dimension, and I think most people are only going to need 2 coats. If you regularly find yourself putting on 3 coats when people recommend 2, then this might need 3 for you as well. As you might have also noticed, I did put this polish over my pink staining that I had reintroduced thanks to my base coat test. So there is a drawback to having put this polish over the staining, which is that it makes it very hard for me to tell if this polish stained. It didn't look like it had, but I can't be absolutely certain. So I probably won't know about the actual staining potential of this nail polish until the next time I wear it. Sorry about that, this is an imperfect system that I have created. Now that we're out in the sun, you can see how that base almost has a slight purple cast to it, but it could also just be the blue sky reflecting off my nails. A little hard to tell, but I think that purple's in there. I do think you can see the flakes flip over to gold at the edge of my nails. There is a possibility there's also a tiny amount of green back there, but it's much harder to see if it is. In this particular polish, the vast majority of the time you're going to see them as red. The gold and the potential green are very rare to see. You see it at the edges of your nails, and it doesn't happen all that much. You do have to catch it at certain angles. I would say the big shift is as I move over to the left, you'll notice the flakes take on just a hint of orange, and I'm going to call them vermillion at that point. Now for my very disappointing shade shots. There is so much reflection happening in my nails there. I think you can clearly see the outlines of the tree and the sky. My nails might as well be a mirror. I'm afraid this footage probably isn't great for you to be able to actually tell what the polish looks like, so I'm going to ask you to wait until we get inside, because I think that is a bit more accurate. If you want to know what my trees look like, fabulous. Now this is an Asterion themed polish from Baldur's Gate 3, and as you might expect from him, it is very vampy. There isn't a ton of shift from this one, but The red flakes do provide sort of an effervescence within that darker base. What this actually reminded me of was my tulips. I have a black parrot tulip. He used to have little tulip friends and they didn't make it, so he was all alone for a couple of years, and then last year I felt bad for him. So I went out and bought more black tulips. They didn't have the jagged edges he has, but now he has some friends and he doesn't have to feel so alone. Here we are in the indoor shot, and this is so much better for color accuracy. No pesky sky to show up, no trees. You can see there is a little bit of gold to the flakes at the edges, and maybe just a hint of green, just as we mentioned in the sun shots. But as I said earlier, the overwhelming look of this polish is that dark garnet with a slight purple cast and a red flake that will turn over into a slight vermillion. And that is what you will see 95% of the time. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so that I can set up a circle of tiny chairs and offer group anger counseling to red squirrels. Please enjoy a clip of the local trees deciding to let go of their fluff all at the same time. It's like being in a snowstorm in the summer.